Hey there, welcome to Bird Paparazzi. In today's video, I'll be sharing my 6 steps for processing raw photos. We'll be editing 2 photos and I'll be sharing some advanced masking techniques. These 6 steps I'll be covering are a baseline and they can be used in most photo editing programs. So let's get started. I shoot with the Canon R5 Mark II and I shoot in CRAW. CRAW stands for compressed RAW. These files are smaller in size than the regular RAW files. Here's a comparison of the file sizes. You can see the RAW file is twice the size of the CRAW file. I've compared CRAW photos to regular RAW photos in post-processing and found them to look the same. The CRAW files take up less memory, giving you more space on your camera's memory card. Now, let's uncover the magic of these RAW files together, and you'll see they have an abundance of detail baked right into the file. Okay guys, here we have a picture of a fox squirrel. We get a kick out of this little guy because he's in this same tree when we walk out of the park. Almost every time we go through the park, he likes this little branch right here, this little perch. Anyways, I took this a stop under just to make sure I didn't blow out the fur on the belly. And then we have a natural light source up here towards the top. So I really like this. And we're going to go ahead and use our 6-step post-processing outline on this. So the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to crop this thing. And in this case, I would crop this to a 1:1 because a 4:5 is going to be too narrow for this particular one. And a 1:1 is another aspect ratio that's popular with social media. Now, I'm going to crop it here. I'm going to put the squirrel here on the right and have some open area here. And then we have our natural light source up here, which will enhance. So let's go ahead and choose that. And basically what we're going to do is we don't really need to take any shadows out, but we'll pump this exposure up just a little bit here. Not too much because we're going to add a radial gradient up here. So let's go over here to the mask section. Let's go radial gradient and let's pull it from the corner. Kind of like it's the light source right there. I'm going to enhance it the way it looked in real life out there. Okay, so you pull it up and you can see that the light's coming in. That looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and leave that there. Now let's go back to the full photo editing tab. Let's hit Z, zoom in, and let's take a look at the noise. It's not too bad, but it is kind of in there. And since we have the tool available to us, let's go ahead and denoise it. And I'll be right back. Okay, here it is. And you can see that it denoised it and it really keeps the details. It helps enhance the details. It's just a fantastic tool in Camera Raw. And it defaults right around 50%. I leave it there because I've tested it every different way and 50% seems to work pretty consistently throughout. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to go back to the masks. We are going to select the subject. Hit Z and zoom out. Take a look at that. It did a really good job of selecting the subject here, so we don't need to do anything else with this. Now I'm going to zoom back in and we're going to take a look at the details. And like I said on the last photo, I like to use the texture slider here. And we're not going to have to do very much to this at all because it's already sharp. See how nice these details are here? It's just tack sharp all throughout. And we're going to go ahead and zoom it back out. And I'm thinking that looks pretty darn good right there. Now, we have a dark area like right down here below here on this limb. So I'm going to go ahead and do an adjustment there. We'll add another mask. Let's go to the brush. And we're going to feather it with this feather slider. And we are going to paint this down across the bottom. Okay, and then if you go over a little bit, because sometimes feathering does that. So what you'll do here for this overflow is you'll hold down Alt and you'll paint it back off of there so we're not adjusting the background, just that limb. Okay, get rid of all that. Now we have that selected, and we can go ahead and do, let's try shadows. Yeah, shadows does pretty good. That's pretty good. Then, now that we have this where we want it, we go up here to the full image adjustment slider, and let's do the exposure a little bit more, brighten him up a little bit. Now that's a matter of preference, how bright you want it. I think that looks pretty darn good right there. So let's go ahead and open that in Photoshop. So one of my final steps I usually do here is I will bring it into Photoshop and I'll look for artifacts. We have a weird thing here and a couple artifacts down here. So let's go ahead and fix those. I usually will use this spot healing brush, and it's pretty easy. You just go in there. That one's gone. And I try to make it as close to the size of the part that I'm taking out of there. Brush that one off. I don't like this little thing here. I'm going to leave this limb because it looks like it's part of the whole thing. And we have that photo finished. I think it looks pretty darn good, and we'll leave that one how it is. Let's move on to the next one. The first image here is a great horned owl. I purposefully took this photo in bad lighting to show how much flexibility these raw photos have. Okay, the first thing we want to do is crop the photo, and depending on what you're going to do with the photo after the processing depends on what kind of aspect ratio you want to choose. In this case, let's say we're going to put it on social media, and a popular size to put on social media is this 4x5. So we'll crop it in a little bit, get it composed. And like I said, this photo is not a good photo, but I'm going to show you what this raw processing could do. It's pretty amazing. So I edit my photos in Photoshop with Camera Raw. It has all the tools, the essential tools that I need to process photos, all in this one piece of software. So we're going to go up here, and you see the owl is dark and the sky back here is light. We can't really expose the whole thing up because it'll blow the sky out and make it too bright. So what we want to do in this case is we want to use a mask, which is right here, and it allows you to select the subject, and it does a pretty good job. But we want to have these dark areas included in this mask. So the way to do that is you have an add and subtract button here. With this layer selected, this mask selected, you just hit add, and you choose the method of how you're going to add those parts. In this case, we need to use the brush. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go and paint these areas in, and Camera Raw has an automatic masking feature to it, so you can kind of go over the edge with the brush, but it'll still stay within the branches. Okay, so we have it all selected there. What we want to do now is look at the different options that we have for bringing the exposure up. Usually what I like to do is bring the shadows up, see how that's affecting it. If you move the slider and nothing happens, you'll go on to the next one. So I want to mix these different ones, not do it all in shadows or all in exposure. I'm just going to kind of mix them a little bit until it looks pretty good. So that looks pretty good. Already you can see it's incredible how much we brought that owl back. And using the mask allows us to lighten the owl and the branches up to match the sky without affecting the sky. Okay, so now what we can do, once you have a mask selected like this, if you want to do something to the background, do any adjustments back there, you'll right click this mask and you'll go duplicate and invert the mask. And what that'll do is it'll choose the exact opposite of what we just did. Now sometimes you can see it includes parts of the stuff that we don't want to adjust anymore because we already have this where we want it. So in this case we'll do subtract, use the brush, and just come in here and paint these areas out so it doesn't affect them. Now we have the sky mask selected. See, now you can mess with the exposure of the sky make it brighter, make it do whatever you need it to do to match the foreground that we just did. Now, once we have that, we go to the full image editor here, and I'm going to hit Z for the zoom tool, zoom it in, and we'll take a look at the noise. Now you can see right here in the eye, you can see a lot of noise there. You can see it here in the feathers as well. So one of the next steps I do is I go and I use the denoise tool in here, and it's just one of the top-notch denoise tools out there for sure. So we'll denoise this and I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back. You can see now that there's no noise in the eye anymore, and some of the details are brought back with the denoise tool. But we're going to go one step better here. Take a look at this. We'll go back to the mask, choose the one that's only the owl. We're going to go down to the texture slider. I don't use clarity because the clarity slider sometimes makes it look funny. So I use the texture slider, and it does a really good job at getting into those fine details. I mean, look at that. That's just fantastic. Hit the Z button for zoom, right click, fit in view. And that looks quite fantastic compared to what we had before. Okay, so here's the before and after on this particular photo. It's incredible what you can bring out in raw photos. Hey, so if you want to help improving the overall look of your photos, go watch my 3-step wildlife photography secrets video. I'll link it at the end of this video. Okay, so that's my raw photo editing workflow. And I hope this raw editing process helped you in some way. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and consider subscribing for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.